There was an idea.
This idea was created by Brian.
So he's come up with the hashtag comic book shoutout.
It's going to be a comic book shout out
With another shout out video.
It's called Comic Book Shoutout. You make a video with the hashtag Comic Book Shoutout, and you just shout out other channels.
under the hashtag comic book shout out.
And hashtag comic book shoutout.
Hashtag comic book shout out.
Hashtag comic book shout out.
Want to do a comic book shout out? Just make sure you have that hashtag comic book shout out in your description.
I want that stuff. Stuff for me, please.
Hashtag comic book shout out going on. But I really wanted to give a shout out to the shout out team.
Hashtag comic book shoutout.
Hashtag comic book shout out. And it is.
And it's time for another comic book shoutout.
I'm gonna subscribe so I can see more videos.